Hi, everybody. My name is Jason Rogers. I'm the Program Management Lead for Advanced Threat Protection in Office 365. So about 3 years ago now, almost actually 3 years in June, we launched Office 365 with safe attachments and safe links. So safe attachments is our detonation technology. We take every attachment off of your email, open it up in multiple hypervisors, and look for behavioral changes inside those hypervisors to determine that something's malicious. Great thing about that is if it's a brand new threat that nobody's ever seen before, we can still detect it. The second feature we launched with was Safe Links. Safe Links is our time of click protection. Now, that allows us to determine if a URL is good or bad at the moment that you click on it. So if something gets weaponized after it's been delivered, we can still detect it and block it for you. So over the last 3 years, ATP has grown quite a lot. In fact, we protect more seats of Office 365 with ATP than all of our competitors do combined. Now this is really important because with that scale, we've seen much better effectiveness, and I'll explain a little bit more about that in a second. When we got to about a year and a half ago or so, we got to over that 10 million seat mark. We figured out that we hit this saturation level where we were detonating enough of all the content in Office 365 that we were able to see this kind of natural float up through ATP and through EOP of our effectiveness. Now, excuse me. Today, in Advanced Threat Protection, we actually detonate over 1 billion items every month. But we don't just look at things that we detonate. We're looking at the full signal across Office 365. So there are over 400 billion emails every month that we scan. We also take signal from Windows Defender ATP. So anything that we find on an endpoint that's protected by Windows Defender ATP, immediately we start blocking that same content in Office and vice versa. We leverage signal from the Edge browser. We leverage signal from Bing. So really, we're able to look at any place a malicious threat is caught throughout the Microsoft stack and catch it everywhere in the Microsoft stack. All this signal has allowed us to float up to a really great catch rate. So for an ATP customer, we're at 3 nines right now for malware. And while we've been doing that, we've also been able to drive down detonation time, so to keep your productivity high. We're down to an average detonation time of under 45 seconds now, which is phenomenal. And at the same time, we've been able to keep adding features and features to keep you productive while we keep you safe. Now, about a year and a half ago or so, we started to notice an uptick in phish, as I'm sure you guys have noticed too. And so we've done a whole bunch of work over the last year and a half, both leveraging the tech that you see here and building out a bunch of new tech in order to combat phish. And my counterpart Abhishek is here. He leads our anti-phish effort within ATP and EOP, and he's going to tell you a lot more about what's going on in that stack. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jason. So as Jason mentioned, at the back end of ATP and EOP in Office 365, you're sitting on a ton of signals across the breadth of Microsoft's cloud services. And all of those signals we are packaging into really advanced machine learning algorithms and advanced big data-based heuristic algorithms to protect you from the latest iterations of phishing attacks and malware attacks. To give you some numbers, in terms of the signals that we are using right now, we have over more than 10 machine learning models running in the back end to protect you from these advanced attacks. And these 10 machine learning models consume hundreds of features across emails, across links, across attachments to then detect malicious behavior and keep those mails out of your inboxes. And in the rare case that they go into your inbox, we also use those signals to enable you as admins to quickly detect them and remediate them using the Office 365 toolset. Let's go a little bit deeper into what the current modern phish landscape looks like. So as you can imagine, as organizations have moved into the cloud, identity has become the new perimeter, and phishing is the preferred vector that attackers are using to crack through that perimeter. So these are the kind of attacks that we see both in consumer email flow and in Office 365. There are basic phishing attacks that start from basic scams. These are your basic scams that go after typically consumer users asking for their personal or financial information, to the very right where it's more sophisticated spear phishing kind of attacks. Of course, the attackers are also using various kinds of brand phishing scenarios and phishing for your SaaS application credentials. Maybe even your Office 365 credentials, your OneDrive account, or your Dropbox and accounts as such. And the goal of the attacker really is to go after your credentials, try to get a foothold inside your organization, and then lateral across, or target a high-value employee inside your organization and make them give away their valued information. And what we are observing is that these attacks are powered by a variety of layers that's playing out in the wild. They start from very basic text layers. So these are emails that contain basic information about, they contain information asking for your financial information, your personal information, to the classic domain spoofing attacks, where the attacker is taking a domain that doesn't have good SPF, DKIM, DMARC security configured, and then using that to launch an attack on your organization, to emails that contain an attachment that has a phishing layer inside it, to emails that contain malicious links that point to fake login pages. More recently, we have seen attacks where attackers are using fake applications on very popular providers and making your end users trying to click on those applications, getting them to trust those applications, and then getting away by accessing the information that the application has access to. And then as you move towards the right of this graph, there's more sophisticated spear phishing scenarios where the attacker is using either user impersonation or domain impersonation to fool your CEO or CFO into giving away their privileged information. Typical scenario over here is the attacker will create an email that looks like it came from your CEO and is going to your CFO. The CFO might trust that to be a legitimate email, and as a response might end up giving away privileged information. So as Jason mentioned, across both ATP and EOP in Office 365, we have done a ton of work over the last year to secure you from all of these various attack vectors. So if you look at the graphic on the left, we have really advanced domain spoofing protection, both in EOP and in ATP. We are leveraging, again, as I mentioned, machine learning intelligence in the backend to build a graph of what kind of domains is sending email into your organization. Do they have an established history of sending good behavior? And when we detect anomaly, we'll start flagging those as malicious mails and blocking it from ever reaching your users' inboxes. Content detonation. So as Jason mentioned, we have done a ton of work to detonate both attachments and links inside a hypervisor-based detonation environment to detect not only malware, but also phishing content inside PDF attachments, phishing sites that fake links point to, or even links inside attachments, and then catch them and protect your users from those kinds of attacks. As of last week, we announced our GA of our internal safe links feature. So this is a unique feature that only Office ATP offers. So this is a scenario where if a user inside your organization is compromised and that user is then being used to send phish mails to other users, your internal safe links can also be wrapped and then protect your other users from getting those phish mails into their inboxes. And then the last bit I talked about was user impersonation and domain impersonation. So again, we've used the power of the cloud to build a security graph in the backend. We've built a graph of who you typically communicate with in your organization. Most phish attacks that we've seen that's happening in the wild are first-time email that a user is receiving. So this is a very powerful signal that we can then harvest to then detect if this email is a lookalike of somebody else that you've never contacted, and that's an indication that this is a phish attack that we can protect you from. So if we combine all of these features together across the breadth of Office 365 capabilities, across EOP, across ATP, and across threat intelligence, we are offering the most comprehensive capabilities to protect your users from phishing attacks, enable you as admins to easily detect those attacks through a combination of features like threat intelligence, like threat explorer, like ability for your end users to report those phishing attacks that's happening back to you as an admin so that you can have alerts configured on them and take remediation actions. If you look at the Threat Explorer capabilities with Office 365 ATP and TI, we have a very rich canvas for you as admins to explore what happened with the mail flow in your organizations in real time, investigate those incidents, and if there's a need, you can actually go ahead and purge those emails from your end users' inboxes on your own. For your cloud-hosted mailboxes, we also have a feature known as zero-hour auto purge. So in this scenario, if we get a delayed signal that something was malicious and has landed into an inbox, automatically will go into those inboxes and remove those emails from the users' inboxes to further secure them. Also, we have the ability to do tenant-level allow blocks. So as an admin, if you have another threat intelligence feed where you detect a URL and you want to secure that your users ahead of time, then you can put it into a custom block list, and Office 365 will then honor those settings for you. And in the last, we had talked about when it comes to phishing, it's very important to keep your users informed and aware of what a good phishing email looks like, so that they can be your last line of defense to secure your organization. So with this regard, we have advanced ATP attack simulator capabilities. We have the ability for your users to then report phishing mails back to you as an admin, and you as an admin can then use attack simulator to run awareness campaigns in your organizations to see who is more susceptible to phish, and then create more custom policies to keep them secure and hence keep secure your end users across their usage. The last bit to mention, of course, is ATP is not just limited to email security. Over the last year, we've also extended it to protect your SharePoint documents, your Teams communication. So any link or document that's surfaced across any Office 365 property, whether it's SharePoint, whether it's OneDrive, whether it's email, will now go through an ATP detonation, will go through a link scanning capability, and hence help you keep your customers secure no matter which cloud service they're using in the backend. So to pull this all together, if you look at the combination of what we have inside Office 365, we are enabling, with the combination of the tools we have across what we have in EOP, what we have in ATP, and what we have in threat intelligence, we are enabling you as admins to not only to protect your customers from malicious attacks, whether it be malware, whether it be the more advanced phishing scenarios that we talked about, enable you to easily detect them as admins, and then take remediation actions on it. And all of this in the backend is powered by our Microsoft Security Graph. As we mentioned, a ton of signals coming from not only from within the mail flow we see in Office 365, we're getting signals from Windows, we're getting signals from Bing, we're getting signals from Active Directory, and combining all of that and then infusing it across EOP for your basic protection, across ATP for your more advanced zero-day attack protection, and then surfacing all that intelligence through threat intelligence so you as admins can take necessary remediation actions. So with that, I hope you had a good overview of what is the new capabilities that we have in ATP to keep you secure from phishing attacks. We have a booth right around the corner that's going to show you a demo of what this product looks like, and so you can learn more about what these new capabilities are and hopefully turn them on in your organizations to keep your customers secure. My name is Abhishek. I'm going to hang out here for a few more minutes. If there's questions, please walk up to the stage and I'll happy to answer them. Thank you for your time.